This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Time being 4:45. I'd like to call this meeting of April 17th to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Start right in by reviewing the minutes of April 3rd. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of April 3rd as written.
Second, Scanlon.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. All right. So just a couple of announcements. We have spring cleanup days are April 30th, May 2nd, and May 3rd. And to receive the new 2025 transfer sticker, you must bring your registration into Town Hall, and you can check the website for the Town Hall clerk tax collector office hours. Anybody else have any other announcements?
You said May 2nd, April 30th, and then jump to May 2nd?
That's what it says.
On the website, it says April 30th to May 3rd. So it
Okay.
includes May 1st.
So yes, it does. So it's April 30th through May 3rd.
Yeah, it's just the date, the times are a little different on the Saturday.
Yeah, right, because a couple of them are Wednesdays, right?
Yep. Okay. Any other announcements? No? Okay. All right, we're going to jump right into, actually, Catherine, we got a couple minutes. You wanted to bring up the trough.
Oh.
So let's just do that real quick. We'll just bring that up.
I don't have the estimate in front of me. I apologize. But so, yeah, after the discussion, I kept thinking about it.
Yep.
And it is on the Registry of Historical Landmarks.
Yes.
We take it apart and rebuild it, no longer. The statue was there before the trough. So it must be sitting on its own foundation, if you will.
The statue.
The statue.
Yeah, okay.
And I just keep questioning. I believe in the estimate, they said the foundation is cracked and whatever, but I don't know how it could be. You can't even see the foundation except you can see a little bit of the base.
The foundation of the trough itself?
The trough itself.
Yeah,
And then that I question, I don't know, but I kept thinking about it. It's like, what are we talking about as a foundation? Is it sitting on a concrete slab?
Yes. Yes.
When it was built, I kind of wonder.
Okay.
Or is it just sitting on the dirt with a little concrete?
Like a little pad or something.
Holding the bricks up.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. Because I see what you're getting at, because if it's its own,
it's not going to go anywhere. If the foundation is cracked, and I'm not an expert, this is brickwork, this is not concrete. Where's it going to go?
All right.
The bricks hold it together.
Yeah.
The foundation is just something it sits on.
Hmm.
But it's not like the foundation of a house. This is just something between it and the dirt.
A pad, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like it's
Yeah.
gonna fall into the Tilton subway.
Right,
So
right.
maybe we should just have Ron maybe come in
We can have him come in, Mr. Chairman,
and explain it a
But-
little bit better.
but I
I mean,
think,
before we vote to go ahead and do it,
What was the estimate?
so roughly 17 for, 14.9 for the trough, and then the rest of the cost was for the town hall. And I would, Mr. Chairman, after this discussion, I'd like to just clarify something that came to my attention. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the quote.
So I think we probably, does it make more sense just to have him come in and explain it, what it,
we can ask him the question, sure.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I think that
I-
makes more sense because you're right. You just, now I'm trying to think of like, is it sitting on a separate slab and the brickwork was done around it as just a decorative type thing? Or I have no idea.
I don't either.
I-
That's the problem, not knowing.
Yeah, and I think what happened the day that we were out there viewing it, Ron's son, who also works in the business, Josh, Josh was the one that spotted the crack in the foundation. So that's the reason for the caveat in the quote about, I'm not sure what we're going to find when we get down that far,
Down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, well, and that's, we got to get it to that point anyway. But at that point in time, it is like Catherine said, I would suspect, he said the crack was in the by the statue, but not in the statue, on the base of the foundation of the trough all around. That's where he saw the crack. But it could be a crack in the 2-inch layer of cement. So maybe he just has to, if we want him to dig that up and re-pour that, if that's the case. He did ask me at that time if at that time they were jackhammering those pylons in across the
Yeah.
street. And he did ask me, and I did not. I took many pictures of the town hall and the building while they were doing that in the event that there was a further problem, because at Onions, they had at least one window broke from that constant hammering. And, but Ron Dunlop asked me, did you look at it before they started the hammering, Scott? And afterwards, was that crack there before? I said, I can't tell you that. I did not look at it. I can tell you that and I still have them, pictures of all of the sides of the town hall and the building. And I looked for evidence of, crumbled mortar on the ground and that stuff. After, before or during and after, and I didn't find any issues.
All right.
Even in a house foundation,
Yeah.
you don't tear the house down and redo the foundation.
Right,
You fill the crack.
right.
Yeah. So maybe I think I want to, maybe you and I can go out there
Yeah.
and look at it.
Sure.
Either that or I can
and
bring
then
Ronnie back.
Why
at a
don't
time.
why don't we set up a time for him to come in?
Come in,
and just talk
come
to
back
us?
and look at it?
And
with you and I and
Yeah,
Catherine?
yeah,
That's
So,
fine.
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Because I want to know as
Perfect.
well. So,
Yep.
all
Okay.
right. Yeah, if you could do that, Scott,
I'll do that. And if I might, Mr. Chairman, while we're on the subject, John Scanlon somebody had asked John about the acid washing of the building in the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
The quote, and thank you for doing that, because it did not involve that. The quote only involved, I wondered why this didn't seem like a lot of money for the repairs, but the quote only involved acid washing and sealing the areas that need to be repaired, which is basically out front here. So I took the liberty to ask Ron to provide me a quote on acid washing and sealing the whole building. So that he is working. I think he has a house in Vermont. I think he's at his house in Vermont because he has no cell or email service up there. So.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I'd like to be there.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
I have one more question.
Yes.
If we went ahead and did this, would we do it in the fall?
He would like to do it as soon as possible,
Okay.
but I guess that would be how the board felt about it.
Yeah.
But he did ask for participation and from highway, and I talked with Shane, about scooping the stuff out. And I told Shane, I said, before you scoop anything out, we need Catherine to come down and just look at it because there are some
I won't just look at it, I'll be digging it.
perennials in there. So let him dig it for you.
I
Catherine.
only
So,
asked because
yeah.
I usually order the plants
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, a little bit ago. But
Yeah. I think that however the board would like me to handle it, I can have him wait till fall or,
Yeah, I think
And
when we
come.
meet with him,
yeah, we'll talk about
we
it.
can have
Okay.
a little bit more of a conversation because I know Catherine said she wanted to pull some stuff out of there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So I want to make
Okay.
sure that we get all that situated first.
Perfect.
All right. Does any other board member have a quick update on anything?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there an application in the to be signed folder for a park member, a new park member?
None that I'm aware of,
I'll let
Catherine.
Catherine look.
Evidently I missed that meeting. But at last, oh, thank you, John. At last month's meeting, they had somebody that was interested, and they nominated him. They didn't elect him. It was just an act of, yes, we would like you to. And I'm thinking that this person thinks that they were appointed that way, not knowing the process.
Oh.
Yeah, not good.
So,
All right.
yes, we probably need to reach out to them, and I'll give
Yeah.
you the name
Okay.
after the
Okay.
meeting.
Yeah, I'll
In
explain
case
it.
they've changed their mind, I don't want to say it in public.
Right.
Okay.
I'll explain the procedure to him. So.
All right.
Thank you.
John, do you have any? No?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good. Pat, do you have any? Good. Okay. All right. Tim, you are up.
Great. So I've just got a couple of very quick things. You'll see my report in your binder. And what I would like a decision on is the second item, which is borrowing for Academy Street. So we have two options. One is to go through the bond bank, which there's some advantages to that, or we could go through a local bank, and there's some specific advantages to that. The difference between them is 1.25
Anything while you're in there?
Oh, wait a minute.
there's a difference of 1.25% between the two. Both are tax exempt rates. They're both for the same term. And the bond bank, however, requires a different kind of counsel for that activity. And the last time we engaged the bond counsel, it cost us $12,875. Going with a local bank, we would simply need to have an opinion letter similar to our tax anticipation note, which I asked for a quote for this 10-year note, and they said not to exceed roughly $1,700. However, we just are paying the tax anticipation note opinion letter, which is under $600 currently. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of cost to that. The big differences come in flexibility. So with the local bank, we're able to go for a loan up to an amount of $450,000 that we would borrow. And if we spend less in the process of constructing it, then that just flows right into the 10-year bond. Or note, if you will. Whereas if we go through the bond bank, we don't have any flexibility with that. It's for the amount that we go for those 10 years. So it's entirely possible we could end up with more money being bonded, albeit at a lower rate than going through a local bank. The other thing is that we can renegotiate with a local bank. There are no prepayment penalties with a local bank. And every 3/4 of a percentage point, we can renegotiate with them. So basically 75 basis points. And I don't think I need to tell anybody that there's a lot of volatility in the market. And that does affect the bond market and bond rates. So the two rates being different by about a point and a quarter gives me the confidence in saying that I think we should move forward with the local bank. And I do have a motion regarding that. And I've included a chart showing the difference. In other words, if we were to spend $18,500 less in the construction, they would be the same costs. The other thing is that if the board does opt to go with the New Hampshire Bond Bank, we will have to sign an engagement letter with the bond council, which you could authorize the chair or me to do, because the application is due to the bond bank by April 25th, the initial application. But there's a lot of work that bond council does with one of these because they get combined with a number of other municipalities. They have to look at overlapping debt of the different taxing components within this area. They have to go through all the steps of notification, our audit, and so on and so forth, in providing their opinion. So, like I said, it's less cost, I believe, to go with a local bank, and it gives us more flexibility, which I think is important at this stage.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we pursue a 10-year note for the Academy Street project at an amount not to exceed $450,000 at tax exempt rate not to exceed 4.5%, and further to expend the funds necessary to secure the funding.
I'll second.
Didn't we do this before?
Hmm.
We didn't go with the bond bank on a,
Right, that's right.
what was that one? Do you remember?
The PD.
Mhm.
Was it the PD?
Yeah. Yep.
And how did that work out for us?
It worked out very well.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great.
Mr. Chairman, just as a matter of remarks, Tim and I did meet with our engineers, water department engineer, and John Chase, and we were able, Tim and I are looking at the savings where we can use local forces like highway and that stuff, and we think we're going to find a pretty decent savings in there.
Good.
So just to let you know. So
Great.
Yeah, in fact, to answer Catherine's question, we were able to bond about, I want to say about $500,000, a little more than $500,000 less than what we were authorized to. So by going with a local bank, we were able to turn our construction bond into a long-term note, and it's at 1.9%. So we did very well with that.
That's good.
Otherwise, we would have had to bond much higher amount.
I'm curious as to why the recommended motion didn't include specifically Franklin Savings Bank.
It could. That's my intent. That was my omission.
I didn't know if you're going to go shopping at other banks.
No, and there was just a banking change at another local bank. No, my intention is to pursue that through Franklin Savings Bank, which is our current relationship. And that's all I have.
All you got?
Yep.
Okay.
I have some other notes that you can read at your leisure in my report, but that's really all I needed. Thank you.
All right. Great. Thank you. All right. Moving along. I'm going to open it up now for public comment. If anybody wants to come up. Yep. Go ahead, Greg.
Greg DeVolder, 161 School Street, to the Tilton Selectmen. I stand before you this evening as a disappointed citizen and taxpayer of Tilton. Since last September, I have followed the Wallace Products Corporation request as they have worked their way through the zoning board. You may have even recall I've written a few articles about that last year as well. And over the year last year, I attended a multitude of town meetings from boards to committees. And I have to say, of all the meetings I've sat through, I've never seen more disrespect shown to a chairman than I have witnessed coming from a few members of the ZBA. Their actions have placed our town in a negative position that could have and should have been avoided. Sadly, these individuals know better. They are seasoned veterans of the town. They know the rules, what their roles are, and what is permitted within their purview on this board. Words were spoken, actions were taken, and time again the chairman was unaware of what was going on behind the scenes until their meetings. This might be forgiven if this was a new person joining the board and making clumsy and honest mistakes, but that was not the case. For the record, I carry no ill feelings of either of them. I appreciate their service and willingness to dedicate themselves to the town, and I thank them for that. And though I may agree with their concerns, and I'll repeat that, I may agree with their concerns, I do not believe that the end justifies the means. I feel the zoning board has been greatly compromised, and the best solution for all involved is to start fresh with 2 new members. So I ask you this evening to consider requesting their resignation, and if need be, removing them from the board. In addition, I don't know what was said by our town council in this case, but if they advise someone to recuse themselves going forward, and that person decides not to and goes against our paid legal counsel, then they should take on the responsibility, I feel, of the liability expense for not only themselves, but for the town. We're paying our legal counsel money to make these decisions and to advise us on these decisions. And if people aren't going to follow them, I don't see why we, the taxpayers, should support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Any other comments? No? Anybody online? Okay. Hearing none. Time being 5:07. I make a motion to move into non-public per RSA 91A:3, Section 2C. Reputation matters which, if discussed in public, would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. Do I hear a second?
Second, Scanlon.
Okay, roll call.
Constantino, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Adams, yes.
Hanson, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, you're live.
I'll make a motion. Time being 18.
Not until you put on your microphones. Sorry.
Good point.
All right. So time being 6:45, I'd like to make a motion to come out of non-public.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I'd like to seal the minutes of April 17th, 2025, because the reason justifying the need for the non-public session still remain. In a second.
Second.
Catherine, second.
That was spaced.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Question before we adjourn. Are we, this person for the alternate, are we holding it out or are we? I heard more than 3 people knew this person, so I'm just wondering if we're holding it out. or
I do not.
They attended a ZBA meeting,
Yeah,
and some of us don't know them.
I don't know him.
I
I don't
either.
okay.
So if they got to attend a ZBA meeting, they'll have time to attend a selectmen's meeting, right?
I'll
For the
instruct them.
benefit
Can you,
of those
can
who
you reach
don't
out to
know.
them, Scott, and ask them to
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stop in
John.
Yeah.
to one of our meetings?
Yeah, and the other
Needs it.
thing that,
Should be the next one if we can.
Right, yeah, May 1st.
the other thing, Mr. Chairman, that I've undertaken at the suggestion of legal counsel is to kind of just verify with folks that are interested, that they don't have some type of conflict, like, with being on our boards. That's all.
Okay.
So it's just a housekeeping measure. That's all. So,
Right.
and I'm sorry, I was not fast enough. I did need to know who's second in sealing the minutes.
Catherine.
Catherine, thank you.
You mean something like take them out back and shoot them?
All right. Anybody else have any business?
Can we get the windows washed and the screens washed?
Yeah.
Yes. And Shane when is that?
It's coming.
He started.
They've already
Already
done.
started? I didn't
Done
see that
these
side.
four.
Okay,
These-
perfect.
Yeah, this,
These 5 are done.
yeah.
Okay, so awesome. All right.
Next week we should have them done, but. I
Somebody
will
want to make a
entertain.
motion? Close the meeting?
Motion,
Did we all agree that the windows should be washed
And the screens.
and the
Oh.
it's
screens?
regular.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night.